than just a transformation from bodybuilding to CrossFit, hybrid athlete and everything in between. This video is a travel from one mindset and one mental state to another, and it's some content I've really been sitting on releasing for a while. I think now's the perfect time to get it released, and we're going to dive into everything from the competitive bodybuilding and that sort of world, but not just that, the journey I've gone through personally which chose me to go into bodybuilding, and then the journey which chose me to leave bodybuilding.
As a whole, there was many reasons I got into fitness in the first place, with that being struggling mentally, and bodybuilding was the first introduction I had to fitness, which at the time was everything I could have asked for. It really did help my mental state, and then as the years got on and it got more serious, it actually took a negative effect on my mental state, and I'm doing this video and this journey of mine to just maybe help that one person, and I think it'd be a really good insight on me to show how I've got from where I were to where I am, and if anybody else is feeling the same way that I felt, I can maybe give some tips, and you might be feeling the same feelings I felt, and you can reach out, or I can just help that one person. I know it sounds very cliche, but yeah, help that one person, because I wish I'd seen a video like this when I felt how I did. But let's get strapped in. This is my journey. So, when I was at school wasn't my thing. I was that ADHD kid who I couldn't sit down, I couldn't listen, I couldn't do really much rather than PE, which has set me quite well in life, because that's the only GCSE I got, and it's the job I'm in, sort of. So yeah, school, let's take it back to school right at the start. So I went to Faircroft Primary School, and in and out of like getting kicked out, getting let back in, kicked out, let back in, just because I couldn't focus. I was that kid, you put a book and tell me to write in it and do maths, it didn't really sit well. I'd rather be running around and doing childlike stuff. Left there and we went to Wales High School, so that's like the graduate school of leaving there, you go to Wales High School. Same again really, but at a bigger scale, obviously a lot more kids, so I was shown a lot of different things and a lot of different ways of living, personalities, and school, like looking back now, was a great time. Really enjoyed it. I weren't a shy kid. I've never really been shy. I was quite like a popular class clown. I know you might not be able to think it, but I was a bit of a class clown. Yeah, and I just really enjoyed school. Maybe a bit too much, because again, I left with absolutely no grades bar sports studies. And yeah, I just had a laugh. I had some great times, met some great people, and along the journey of school, I actually started my first sort of competitive sport, which I sent to be really into, which was ice hockey. We actually moved house, and we moved next door to somebody who had an ice hockey team, and he invited me along, and I got hooked immediately. My mum and my dad took me from games to games, which I can't thank them enough for. Catered me around the country, and from that around the world. I actually had opportunities to play in America and went and did things there. And yeah, eventually I got to an age where you signed contracts and stuff. I signed for the Sheffield Steel Dogs for 2 years, and yeah, played up until that. But along with playing ice hockey, obviously my drive was into that. We had to join the gym because I was a bit of a skinny kid, and I needed, if you've watched ice hockey before, you've seen how physical a sport is. I needed to be able to throw a bit of weight around, you don't really get many places if you can't really do that in ice hockey, unless you're super talented, which I was not. I could just skate and fit. So I had to get into the gym, and that's where my passion really got, like, it's like a fire was lit inside of me. Every time I was in the gym, I was that player who would do extra in the gym, want to be training extracurricular all the time, and that's where that love first came for, could say bodybuilding, but more for fitness in that scene, and that's immediately when I knew I wanted to do this as a job, and I pursued it as a job. I got all my qualifications alongside working full time in the school. I got all my personal training qualifications, started working with friends, getting friends into shape, and yeah, really fell in love with just the process of how I can help people. That's always been my thing. I've always wanted to help as many people as I can, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this video, because I do want to help. So we got our qualifications, we got into a gym, worked in Barnsley for my first ever gym, and then moved to a different one, and moved around gyms until I found sort of my home, and I feel I've really found it in S20 Health and Fitness. I can't thank that gym, that place, that members, the team I work with day in day out enough, because they have pulled me through some difficult times. When I first joined S20, I wasn't in the best state, which we're going to dive to later on in the video, and that place is just an absolute breeding ground for bringing people up. You're surrounded by great people day in day out, and I can't thank them enough. So as I said previously, and the reason behind this video is to help with mental health and to help people along their journeys. I only think it's fair to dive into mine, and this is the first time I've actually spoke about this openly, and some of the things I am going to say is the first time that I've said it. So my mental health struggles really started when I was around 17, 18. Before that, I never really did struggle. I am still that happy-go-lucky kid, but I do have struggles. So when I was around that age, my dad had actually been ill for quite a long time, and unfortunately we did actually lose my dad. So diving into that story, my dad was like my absolute everything and an absolute role model for me to live by and looked up to, and when that sort of happened, I didn't really know how to take it, and I took it quite bad, and it still does affect how I live now. I know it reflects in how I live, and I live for now because I've realised how quick things can sort of get taken away from you. Life's only a short period of time. But so diving into my dad, because I do think he is an absolute godsend in my life. My life before my dad wasn't perfect, and then came into my life and then just went. So how's that affected my mental health? I don't know if I can talk about this, I've never actually spoke about this properly without getting upset.
Pardon?
I don't know if I can talk about it because I'm getting upset.
It's up to you, mate. Say for me.
So the passing of my dad was quite a sudden thing, where my mum had actually gone on holiday and my brother come into my room, and my dad obviously wasn't well, and we had to call an ambulance and everything else, and we actually did sadly lose my dad. And like I've said before, my dad wasn't just my dad, he was a role model, he was my best friend, and everything in between. Like I said in previous clips, he took me everywhere with ice hockey and always showed me and told me that you put everything into everything, and I did. And I'd like to think that I'm doing him proud now in the things that I've done and things I'm gonna do, and everything I do is devoted to my my old man. So yeah, that was quite a shock. So after obviously the passing of my dad, I just spiraled out of control. In that time, I wasn't in the best relationship, and my head just sort of went. I turned into a jealous person where I see people obviously with their dads, and I just get filled with jealousy and hate, and that's just not what I'm like. But I dealt with it very bad. I had opportunities to go and see counselling and never really did that. That wasn't really for me, which looking back on now I might have benefited from a bit more. I might not struggle how I struggle now, but I've always sort of found my own way of dealing with things. So diving into how I dealt with it, I was going out quite a lot. I was keeping everything in and putting on a front, which I still do to today. I put a front on because I don't want to upset. Obviously, the people around me have gone through the same thing. My mum, my brother, and everyone else are just struggling the same way. So I didn't really want to put pressure on them, and I kept everything in. And yeah, it just got a bit out of control to the point where I didn't really want to carry on, and the thoughts of not carrying on were getting more and more frequent, until I did actually put everything into sort of bodybuilding and training and looking after myself, because I was at that point then and I wasn't looking after myself and I wasn't doing anything. I put everything into my ice hockey, but from that I actually did go back to ice hockey, and everywhere I looked in the crowd I just didn't see that one person that I wanted to see watching me anymore, and that absolutely broke me every time I actually played. And that is the reason that I couldn't carry on playing. I did carry on playing for quite a while after, but I felt I was playing for other people. I know how much my family loved watching and stuff, but I was looking into the crowd and not seeing my dad shout for me and stuff, and it was a tough time. So I devoted myself into training because that was sort of like an escape. My dad had never really seen me train, so it was that safe place where I didn't get upset when I was doing it as I was with the hockey, because obviously I'd seen him and I'd done that with him. So everything got put into the gym then, and from that I started seeing a change in my personality. My confidence sort of skyrocketed, and
sorry, dude, I'm a sports thing.
So training for me was really an escape. It was a way to just have that hour and a half hour focusing just on me and my health, mental health, and just me, which I never really had before, because I've always been pulled from different angles and having to do certain things for certain people. So the training was really for me, and with how much effort I put into it, I started researching obviously how to get better at it, how to eat right, everything else, and then that's where the fuel came from to do this as a job. So we got our qualifications and stuff, and we went that route, but more to the escape of training that it gave me. It really is that time where you can just solely focus on your goals, yourself, and as it got more and more serious, that's where the sort of bodybuilding came, and then that's an absolute different story and a different journey. So I started taking it a lot more serious as I got a lot more older, as the muscles started to grow, and I thought I could actually maybe do something with it. And I trained for around 3 years solid, started seeing good gains, ended up knocking ice hockey on the head and just solely focusing on that. And yeah, I entered my first competition last year. I did a full prep and ended up winning a show, and then I came second in the British finals, which at the time was fantastic, which was brilliant, good achievement. And everything from that, I said from the start, I said it quietly, I didn't openly say it, that prep and everything I put myself through was for my dad, essentially, because I wanted to just put everything into something and have something to show for it. And there it is. There got 2 medals, and then that's when the journey after bodybuilding starts. So if you've done a bodybuilding prep, you know the pressures and the things you have to go through in order to get on stage and look your best. I can openly hold my hands up. I chucked relationships away, chucked friendships away to stand on stage for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, twice. So relationships that I built up over so many years and friendships that I built up over so many years, I was so openly happy to chuck away for a maximum of 20 minutes stood on a stage. Which for me, when I sat back after the shows and I realised I didn't want to be a professional in this sport, was a massive shock and a massive punch in the face. I sat back and I was like, wow, sort of what have I done moment. And then that's when the next journey of my mental health really kicked in. I chucked relationships away and friendships away, like I said, that I built up over years. I didn't want to become a professional in the sport. I didn't really want to continue in the sport if I didn't want to be a professional, because I don't like doing things by maybes or like half-arsed. So I found myself a little bit lost after my competitions, and that's like when I said the other journey starts. So a lost Joe is not a very good one. If I haven't got any sense of direction or a goal to work towards, then my mind can wander and I can sort of feel lost. And I was very lost. Going out every single weekend and partying and everything else is just not me. Like I said, I was surrounding myself with the wrong people, the wrong crowd, which I have now distanced myself from. And life is a completely different. I'm in a completely different mindset now as to what I was. I was struggling with my family, and it wasn't a good time. And this was around Christmas this year, where again I was at rock bottom, and I didn't know what I wanted to do fitness-wise. I'd just come from competing in bodybuilding, and my training took a knock, my physique took a knock, and then that's when I sort of found the hybrid sort of approach to fitness. And as a kid, I liked to do everything. I had to play football, ice hockey, I had to do rugby for school, because that is sort of like my escape. Sport is my escape, because it's really like one of my only talents that I was good at school. So a hybrid sort of approach to fitness for me, like CrossFit, is ticking so many boxes, and I was like open to this new world of fitness. I was running, I was lifting weights, I was swimming, trying to swim, and I was amazed that I could do all these things and not just lift weights to get to my happiness and my goal. And that's when I sort of found CrossFit, and that's when I found this new mental state. It's sort of sometimes a feeling of like euphoria with the way I feel. I am in a completely different mindset, towards life, towards work, towards my clients, my own goals. And I open my eyes every day, every morning, and I'm just grateful to be able to do what I do, work-wise, training-wise, everything. I have a lot of different relationships with different people now that I've built up after sort of ruining with the competitive side of bodybuilding, which I can openly say I don't regret doing it, because I had something there and I could devote to my dad. But the things that I did whilst doing that, yeah, it's not something I can change, but it's something I can definitely learn from and move on from. So yeah, the mental state now is completely different, and I just wanted to do this video really just to reach out and spread my journey, as we are going to do a lot more content into me, into my mental health, and openly I'd happily help anybody struggling, because I know how it feels. I've been there, and we're going to do so much more content behind mental health, and not just behind that, behind my fitness, behind my journey. And I think the first video that we get back out would be my change, my transformation, my journey, and there's plenty more to come. And I really look forward to this journey that we're going to go along. I really do think there's a solid community. I've built a solid community, not just from my social media, but my circle now is so strong. My mental health is so strong, and that is all through different people and different things I've learned along the way. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting this next chapter. There's a lot of things to look forward to in these coming years, these coming months, which will be revealed. And I just wanted to say, anybody that has reached out whilst making this transformation and this change into what I'm doing now, or reached out on Instagram and just checked in over the years or anything, I'd just like to say a massive thank you. A massive thank you to my family who's seen me at the rock bottom pits, and the way I am now, which I probably annoy them day in, day out, but I wanted to say a massive thank you. So yeah, let's adapt that LFG mindset, and that is a complete mindset of just let's fucking go. Like, just get up every day, chase a goal, chase a dream, and just get after it every single day. So yeah, let's fucking go. Thank you for watching. Plenty more content to come.